let's take a look at our top selections. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The feature race at Aqueduct on Sunday is the Ladies Handicap. Let's throw up the field. Fillies and Mares going a demanding 1 1/8. We're expecting the 3 Bridalwood Cat maybe to scratch and run at Laurel on Saturday in a shorter distance race. That being said, there are some nice fillies and mares in this race from strong connections. The 7 Thankful for Todd Pletcher is the morning line favorite. Smooth with a Kick for Chad Brown. Both of these horses have taken on pretty good competition.
They have. I mean, I feel like, there are 2 of the horses with maybe the most to prove in this race too, Dan, but they both look like they could be pretty good. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good field, especially for a 9-furlong dirt race, because a lot of these horses, sometimes you get these races and you worry about how far these horses want to go. I think all of the major contenders in here are perfectly fine over this distance.
And the lone pace setter, perhaps, as we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, and I would urge everyone to please visit timeformus.com once scratches are deemed official on Sunday. This pace projector will automatically update. And if Bridalwood Cat is out, it's possible that Miss Marissa, a horse that's very comfortable at 1 1/8, can get loose in a situation that would favor horses on or near the early lead.
Yeah, and it would be a pretty big advantage for her too, Dan. She's looking to bounce back out of the company last time. 2 starts back, she was a grade 2 winner over this distance. And I feel like if you go back and watch the Comley, maybe her connections are realizing now that she is a need the lead kind of horse. You cannot rate her. And if she gets to the front in this race and doesn't have to go fast, she's supposed to be pretty hard to beat.
Now, a horse that would be compromised if this pace projector, and especially the blue bar portion of the pace projector, is correct, a horse would be compromised would be the 1 Lucky Move, who's consistent and underrated. Just consider that this mare made $250,000 in 2020, capped off by this victory in the Bay Ridge, going 1 1/8 at Aqueduct. And there wasn't a lot of pace for her in this race. It was a short field. She's last on the rail turning for home, but she gets to the outside and she just shows off her class.
Yeah, this is a very good win for her, Dan. Listen, it was a very short field. So, coming from last, she didn't have a lot of traffic to deal with, but they were walking in front of her here and she was left. I mean, this was a really, really slow pace. I'm giving her extra points just for closing this race down. I thought she ran really well winning the Empire Distaff 2 starts back. She ran well in this race last year. 9 furlongs is a great distance for her. There's a lot to like about this horse, and she could be a fair price.
And the horse she ran down in that race we just saw, Mrs. Orb, came back to win a New York bred stake, the La Verdad, 92 Beyer speed figure. The 2 is Smooth with a Kick for trainer Chad Brown. And this one was just in tough last time out in the grade 2 Falls City. I mean, you're talking about Envoûtante, Bonnie South. These are grade 2 type fillies. And add in the fact that there just wasn't a lot of pace for Smooth with a Kick to run at. She was probably just in a little bit over her head.
I feel like that was the case in that race. I mean, she was beaten 10 lengths in there, but Envoûtante won by 6. She didn't run horribly in there. It was just too tough of a spot for her. I think she fits a lot better in here. And as I say that, she's definitely a horse who has a lot to prove. But the distance is good for her. I like her tactical speed. And it's just one of those situations where if you pick her form apart a little bit, there are a couple of turf races. There are several wet track races, and it seems like she doesn't really act on wet tracks. Her fast dirt routes, they're all pretty good. I actually felt like she was interesting at a price in this race, and then I saw her second choice on the morning line.
I'm expecting Bridalwood Cat to scratch and run at Laurel. If she does run here, she's a strong pace factor. Miss Marissa is going to be a strong pace factor no matter what. She had a 3-race win streak snapped in the Comley, as you mentioned last time out, Mike. I think it was a combination of factors. A, I think she really didn't care for the wet track. B, she just couldn't get as forward as she likes to be. We remember when she won the Black-Eyed Susan. She got right up close to the pace and sprinted on home. She was on hold last time.
Yeah, her races 2 and 3 back were both really good when they used her speed. And I agree with you. Last time she had the rail, she didn't break like a rocket in there, but she certainly got forward early and she could have gone on towards the lead. And for whatever reason, they just decided to rate her and it did not work out. She did not run well last time. I just feel like she's way better when they let her use her speed, Dan, and I expect them to do that in this race.
Kelly Breen's patience is paid off with the 5, Am Impossible. This is a 5-year-old mare who's only started 5 times, but she's won 4 in a row, including this effort off a lengthy layoff going a one-turn mile last time out. Am Impassable's on the outside in this race. She has a lot of work to do with 3/16 of a mile to go, and considering the layoff, she really fires on home. She's the filly perhaps with all of the upside in this race. The distance a bit of a question.
The distance is a question, and she is a horse who doesn't really have a lot of speed, Dan, so it feels like she'll have a lot of ground to make up again in the stretch. And listen, that's just supposed to be tougher for her to do against a field like this one, but I'm not knocking any of her races. She was really getting good earlier this year before she was forced to miss a lot of time. And you have to think they're pretty encouraged by her return last time. She ran really well.
Ujawi, a Pennsylvania bred, won the Ruthless at Aqueduct as a 3-year-old filly, and she's been consistently good for a long time. Let's watch her last race, getting back to the winning form, and that now winner's a 2 other than optional claimer. The third-place finisher of this race, Daphne Moon, just came back and won before our taping time on Friday at Laurel. This is a solid performance for Ujawi, who's just a solid horse. I have to admit, I've never thought of her as a 9-furlong horse. I think 8 is really her distance, but it's Michael Maker stretching him out.
Yeah, and she has run well in her last 2 starts too, Dan. That was a good win for her right there that we just watched with a new top figure. Her race 2 starts back. She actually did well to get as close as she did over a speed favoring track. So I like that they're stepping her up at the right time, but I agree with you. I'm not really sure I want her going this far.
Thankful took the measure of the comely winner, Mrs. Danvers, 2 starts back at Belmont. She missed a little bit of time after that race, and then she ran on the comely off a 2-month layoff, and I thought she ran in spots in that race. She was kind of 3 wide and in between horses going into the first turn. She took back. I don't think she loved the kickback. It seemed like she was running in spots. And Mrs. Danvers, meanwhile, she was as clean as a whistle. She got right to the front and controlled the pace. Thankful tried. She trudged on home. She was well beaten. I think she's better than what she showed. I liked some of the things she did earlier in the year, especially the win at Saratoga.
I agree with that. They stretched her out to this distance around 2 turns at Saratoga, and she overcame a stumbling start to win that race pretty easily. I liked her race when she beat Mrs. Danvers right after that. And listen, I didn't think she ran terribly in the comely last time. She really couldn't get involved. I didn't think she ran poorly at all. I think she's a major player in this race. Against this kind of field, would I want to bet her if she does go off the favorite? Maybe I wouldn't want to do that, but I feel like she's a very dangerous horse in here.
Let's take a look at our top pick for the Ladies Handicap, the feature race at Aqueduct on Sunday. Same exacta, different order. You're going Chad, I'm going Todd. 2-7-4-1 for you.
Yeah, again, when I went through this race, then I felt like maybe this would be a chance to get a Chad Brown horse in a stakes race at a little bit of a price. And then I saw the morning line, and maybe you won't. Maybe she will be that short of a price. But I just feel like there are things to like about her. And I'm hoping she drifts a little bit off that morning line.
I'll go 7-2-6-5. I think Thankful will benefit from her most recent race, and she's got a little bit of tactical speed. Curious to see what Am Impassable will do at a price. She's got some upside potential. Sunday's feature is the 100 Grander, the Ladies Handicap at the Big A. It has an approximate post time of 3:50 Eastern. Good luck.